Hello everybody, it's Joel from PC Games N, and I'm joined by Phil today.
Hello.
And this burly chap in some sort of spacesuit. This, Phil, is Prey.
Yes. So I've played about an hour of Prey, and
Oh, it's definitely an Arkane game, isn't it?
I met
That man who's come straight from Dishonored.
Yeah.
You've played about an hour. Yes, I can see that. What, the first hour? The last hour?
Yes. No, it is. I believe the very first hour. So probably not representative of the game's more sandboxy, feature-laden, Dishonored-y stuff. But it's a way into the Prey universe, which in itself is an interesting story because it's a franchise that's been retooled and reinvented countless times.
Yeah, I've never played Prey before, but I'm quite excited about this.
Yeah, so this has nothing to do with any previous Preys, nor the cancelled Prey that we saw a few E3s ago.
Quite excited about that as well, to be honest.
That looks all right. The idea here is that we have been sort of awoken from a perpetual fake reality in which we're just sort of doing test after test in this facility and never quite satisfying this man who seems to want more from us than I'm about to pick up some red boxes at some point as part of a test.
He's got quite a wide body and a very thin head.
Yeah, well that's Arkane again, isn't it?
I don't know,
Those stylized
Quite
silhouettes.
sort of meaty heads. Yeah, well, so I suppose, speaking of Arkane, I mean, it does look very Dishonored. That first chap in particular looked very Dishonored-y. This doesn't look massively Dishonored-y. This looks more like Half-Life meets Dishonored.
Yeah, there's
Move the crate, Phil.
There's a bit of Portal to the test facility bit.
Yeah.
It's funny. I think with Dishonored, I think when you think of what Victorian or pseudo-Victorian England looks like, you imagine lots of stuff everywhere, lots of bric-a-brac. And this being a sci-fi game, sci-fi generally tends to be quite sparse. So this is a sparse game, but I wonder if it loses something in the way that Arkane like to tell their stories through these really rich, lavish environments. There's obviously thoughtful design behind the construction, the architecture in what I've played of Prey so far, and the areas do expand into more impressive sort of hub worlds. But there's not, the story isn't sort of bursting out of every cupboard and lolling around on every shelf that you come across. I wouldn't say that if you didn't know, I don't know if you'd pick up that this was an Arkane game other than maybe in the character design.
It does look like an Arkane game, I reckon.
Yeah.
So what, I mean, is the narrative, is it more dialogue heavy? Is it cutscene-y? Because they don't do a lot of explicit cutscenes traditionally, Arkane.
No, well, they're going back to the Bioshock conceit where you're being spoken to over radio by someone who's guiding you through an abandoned place where bad things have happened. So the story is largely told that way, and also there are a lot of emails to read on people's computers.
Audio diaries? Are there audio diaries?
Yeah, I think there's probably a few audio logs around.
Yeah.
So it's that sort of shtick. So again, it's a change of pace from what you usually, I mean, the wax cylinders or whatever they were in Dishonored 1 and 2 that told the story that way, but there'll be more sort of face-to-face communication with people. This time, you're being chatted to by an AI who's... I got the impression was genuinely trustworthy. I don't think they'd pull an Atlas because I think it'd just be a bit cliche at this point.
You look like you're taking some sort of personality test at this point.
Yeah, a little bit Fallout 4 intro.
It's the old trolley problem.
Yeah.
Classic philosophy.
Standard.
Just A or B, that. Just easy. Just boil that down. It's the advanced trolley problem.
Yeah.
We have to actually do something to save the people.
It does get a bit deep.
Well, I mean, these are quandaries that philosophers have argued about for decades. So
yeah, well, I'm just solving them.
You've solved them now, have you? Well, that's what Prey will do for us. It will solve all of the philosophical problems we have. So, I mean, the thing I remember is the man looking at his bloodied eye a lot in a trailer in a sort of apartment. This doesn't look anything like that.
It's funny because it's become Prey's iconic image now as someone looking at their conjunctivitis eye.
His eye.
Iconic.
Yeah. Thank you,
We've done
everybody.
that.
Please subscribe and like this video on the basis of that.
Thanks very much. Yeah, I didn't look into my eye at any point. However, I did put on that suit that you also see.
Oh my word.
Yeah.
There's a sort of very aggressive hug happening. Oh, his skin's come off.
There are mimics in this game. That is one of the sort of chief adversaries of the early game. They can take on the form of anything smallish. a bit like the Terminator T-1000
Wow.
from Terminator 2.
That was savage.
So you can walk into one of the many sort of abandoned space station offices in Prey, and the waste paper basket might be a mimic in disguise, or something on the desk might be a mimic.
Never relax.
So that's a good
Don't trust anyone.
a good idea. What you can use to combat those once they sort of spring into action as
Here's
being
the
mimics.
suit. Here's the suit you're putting on.
So there's the other iconic image from Prey so far is the suit.
Suit conic.
What you can do is use the glue gun, capital G, capital L,
Double
and
O?
two capital
Yeah,
O's.
there you go.
I mean, it's a glue gun, isn't it? Like, you can use that to sort of affix them in place, and then use a shotgun or a wrench to shatter them, which is good fun.
That does sound fun.
You know, it's like an early game combining puzzle. You don't even have to do it that way, but it shows that you know, Arkane are still looking to get you thinking about your tool set in that same way that you would in Dishonored, by combining abilities and manipulating, you know, being like a cat playing with a mouse, basically.
I like his big square flashlight beam. That was nice. Or
Yeah, I didn't use the
rectangular, I
flashlight all
suppose.
that much in the end, but
So what when you talk about combining things, do you have powers as such? I know you can turn into a mug. This seems very important.
Yeah, I was heartbroken to discover that I wouldn't be able to turn into a mug during my playthrough. That's an ability that you get later on in the game, but you do have abilities.
What kind of things?
And
Why?
Well, the story explanation behind it is that you've been implanted with loads of mods that give you different sort of psychic
You've been on
abilities.
ModDB and you've now downloaded a load of mods.
Yeah, basically. And the sort of alien invasion ties back into that as well, because I think the mods that we use are harnessing alien technology, and the aliens have used that as a way of invading somehow. It's not clear at this point, but
Right,
I'm sure.
and here you are twatting a mimic with a wrench.
Yeah.
It's gone.
So that's one of the sort of more
Sort of made
Route
of
1
dust
combat
and
experiences.
shadows.
Here's the glue gun.
It's big.
Yeah.
I've never used a glue gun that big when I was doing DT at GCSE
Did you not?
level.
Oh, yeah, no, ours looked exactly like
Did
that.
they? Oh, right, yeah, fair enough.
So then they shatter in
it's
place.
sort of-
I didn't quite
What
get
the
it at this point.
Deuce? Yeah,
So I
hit it,
keep-
Phil.
I keep shooting it with the glue gun. He's really gluey.
He is super gluey.
Hey, iconic, super gluey. Remember to subscribe and
Gluey,
like.
he's Gluey Lewis in the news, he is.
So here's installing a neuro mod. This is a bit of a Bioshocky bit.
Is that going in your own eye?
That goes in the eye.
That freaked me out a bit.
And there we can spend points.
He's done that
on-
very casually.
Yeah, he's used to it. Actually, I played as a female Morgan Yu, but I don't think there was any difference.
I didn't know that was an option.
Yeah, but
That's
I don't.
nice.
I think I might be wrong, but so far it just looks like it's an aesthetic thing.
Okay.
This was a bit of a hairy.
You're getting done here.
Yeah, I'm
rather.
getting done. Good job. I got a massive shotgun, and I think that mimic looked like it was about to either transform, like disguise itself as something really big, or just become really big.
Oh, so you switching mods on the fly, are you?
No, I'm just
Oh.
spending some points here.
Oh, right. Okay.
I decided to go down the security route, which gives me better. I got like a sort of a focus mode for my weapons that I never used.
Okay, good.
Because I didn't actually come across that many combat scenarios.
So it's a classic 3 path upgrade system.
Yeah.
Scientist, engineer, security. Okay,
Yeah,
that seems to
we're
make
familiar
sense.
with that, although you can mix and match, obviously.
Yeah.
But I went all in with security so that I, feel like I got something meaningful out of it in an hour, and that's what we can
Now,
do
Phil,
later in the game.
is it good? Did you like it?
Yeah.
This is one of those important questions that I don't want to forget to ask.
It is important. I did like it. It wasn't quite what I was expecting, but I think part of that comes down to the fact I played the intro, and the intro has to do a job that isn't going to be like the rest of the game. So it wasn't a massive sandbox full of abilities for me to combine.
Is it going to be very sandboxy? Because obviously, Dishonored is sort of sandboxy in terms of like the tool set, but actually, sort of the spaces aren't massively wide open. It's not a sandbox game.
No, that's
wouldn't
true.
say.
I'd probably expect that the hubs will be of a similar size. That it was going in that direction towards the end of what I was playing.
Right.
So it'll be hub worlds with lots of sandbox tools, I'd say. But I just didn't quite get a massive range of sandbox tools to experiment with. I
You
certainly
are
think that's the
definitely
intention.
reading this poster with some intensity, though.
Yeah, well, this is an example of the environmental storytelling, of course, but also it's a like potted history of how we got from the 60s to Prey's alternate universe. Basically, the Soviets built a space station, a massive shady conglomerate bought it, did some weird experiments, and now Prey's happened.
And it's out very soon. It's out in May, which I hadn't realised, so I'm very excited
Creeping
about
up,
that.
isn't it?
I'm looking forward to this one. It's one of my top titles of 2017.
I think it remains that way for me, having played it as well.
That's good. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Let us know what you think. If you're excited about Prey, drop us a subscribe, hit the bell, and we will catch you again very, very soon.